Hello, everybody.
What's up?
Yeah, good.
I have some major updates. I'm ready to go. So we'll just I'll let him ask me the question. So I don't want to be the one that leads this since it's his deal.
Let's go.
Go Forex, show them.
Well, is he here?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I've been talking to my for a long time.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't want to start it without you because it's your deal. So I wanted to let you do your thing. I don't know if you're streaming or what you're doing with this.
No, I'm not streaming, but a couple of my guys are.
Okay, cool.
I think Bartertown is streaming as well.
Yeah.
If he didn't take a nap or something.
Yeah. Sorry about being here at 2:30 instead of noon. I had another meeting scheduled at 2, and I thought I just got the times mixed up, and I was working all night, so I set my alarm for 1 o'clock, thinking that the AMA was at 2, and then I woke up and realized it was at noon. So I'm glad we could just move it back a little bit because I was excited about doing this.
Well, as we were. We really do appreciate you coming aboard and doing this with us. You said you wanted to give like a brief state of affairs before we get started.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
The floor is yours, sir.
All right. So we've made a ton of progress in the past couple weeks. Essentially, the all of the V2 MasterChef contracts are done, finished, being tested right now. The Animal Farm Pigpen game, which I still don't have a name for, that we need to that I want to have a kind of community vote on the name or a contest. Okay, sorry, I got a pager or something going off. I have a family member who's a doctor staying at the house, so I thought it was my fire alarm for a second, but I think it's his pager. So some people still use pagers. Weird. So the Pigpen game is completed. Oh no, that is a fire alarm. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, it's all good. I just got someone over here cooking. My father's over, and he's an emergency room surgeon. So I heard the beeping going off, and I wasn't sure if it was like a pager or something, or a fire alarm. But he's cooking. It's just he set the time off on accident. So
I thought it just right.
Yeah. So the Pigpen game is completed, and this is something that is going to be huge, and Drip plays a role in it. I want to keep the role that Drip plays in it a secret until it's ready to be revealed, but it's really cool, right? It's a function that Drip plays in it that people are really going to enjoy. It adds a level of depth to the game that you can only access through Drip. So the game itself is it's a hacker themed game and a turn-based game. So this is something that I've been working on for a long time. I've been working on it for literally years. And it's something that I was initially going to have be its own project, but I saw a way to integrate it with Animal Farm that supports all of our current assets and really integrates very well. So the way that we're integrating it is it will be built on top of the pig pen, and all of this is already done. We're in right now. What we have left to do is testing and getting the art assets finished. So it has 16 different characters in the game. We're having animated characters made for each one. I just hired a studio 2 days ago, so we've been interviewing a ton of different studios and having some people that are artists in the community make submissions. We ended up going with a major studio that does great work, that has done work for a lot of other games in the past, and we made a deposit on their work already, and they've already provided sketches for all of the assets we need. I just got the sketches back today, so I have to go over them and make suggestions and decide what we're going to go with. But it's a major game, right? It's a game that could easily be its own project, but it really fits into the Animal Farm and Pigpen very well. So it's a turn-based hacker game where you buy into the game with pigs. When you buy into the game, you deposit pigs to buy your first character. When you buy your first character, the pigs that you spent to buy that character gets deposited into the pig pen for you. Now, your first character that you buy is your first hacker, and you use him to deploy a botnet. And the passive part of the game is about building reputation, joining more advanced hacker groups, and getting access to more advanced hacking tools that will allow you to spread your bot, affect more servers, and these servers act kind of like an in-game currency, because you can give access to these servers to trade for other hacking tools, and you can also sell access to the servers for BUSD and for pigs. Now, this BUSD and the selling your servers for, or you're trading for the servers that you've infected, are coming from the combined rewards of everybody who has used pigs to enter into the game. So when you buy your first character, you're taking pigs. Those pigs are getting staked in the pig pen, and now to add more resources and to buy additional hacking tools, which allow you to increase the efficiency of your botnet and your ability for your botnet to spread and affect more servers. It costs either pigs or essentially reputation. So as you increase your reputation in the game, you have access to other hacking groups that you can join and access to their tools, which now allow you to infect more servers, which can be traded out for BUSD. And the BUSD that you're able to trade out for is the combined sum of all the BUSD that has been generated from all of the players in the game that are staked in the pig pen. So by playing the game, it's a way that you can access more capital from the pig pen than you otherwise would as being a normal staker in the pig pen. And this is because when you enter the game, you're essentially taking the funds that you're making from the pig pen and putting them in the game's pot, and now you're playing for them. So if you're more skilled at the game than someone else, you could potentially take more BUSD out of the pot than them, or more BUSD out of the pot than you would earn with that same amount of pigs if you had just put them in the pig pen. And it's a really cool game because it's both passive and active. So the passive part of the game is about building up your reputation, joining more and more advanced hacking groups, which allow you to more efficiently spread your botnet, and then sell access to the servers that you've infected on our dark web market, which is a market that allows you to trade access to the servers you infected, to buy different hacking tools. Now, there's also an active part of the game, and no matter what your strategy is, it's a very well-balanced game where you cannot be completely passive. And the reason for this is because the active part of the game is a competition between you and everybody else that's playing the game. And the way this works is some of the hacking tools you can buy are both defensive and offensive. So you can buy offensive hacking tools such as ransomware, such as remote access tools that you can use to infect other players in the game and attack other players in the game and take control of their servers. And now, since servers act as a type of in-game currency, you can essentially take their capital because you're taking control of their servers, which you can now use to sell for BUSD and pigs, or you can use it to buy additional hacking tools to further spread your botnet and build up greater offense and defense against other players in the game, and build up your experience and reputation. So it's your reputation that allows you to move to move up and access other hacking groups that will give you access to more powerful hacking tools, but also you gain experience in the game. There's XP points, and this experience allows you to unlock talents, and these talents will increase the power of the tools. So as you use your experience points to unlock talents, now you can the hacking tools that you have available to you are more powerful. So for example, you could unlock a talent of social engineering, and now your ransomware tool can be 2x more powerful. And so when I say 2x more powerful, when you're attacking other players in the game, they will have offensive, defensive scores, and your offensive score will determine will determine your results when you attack another player in the game. So when you want to attack another player in the game, you will have to look at the stats of the other players in the game. You'll have to assess how their security and how their defense is based on the security tools that they're using and the defensive tools that they're using, and determine if the tools that you have are enough to overcome their security, and if you do overcome their security, how many of their servers you will be able to infect. And this and there's a page of there's essentially a mapping on the game that you can access to go over everybody's stats in the game, so you can determine who you want to attack based on what their security is, how their defense is built up, and how many of their servers are vulnerable to the hacking tools that you have. And now you can attack them, take control over their servers. You gain experience points when you do this, which allow you to use your hacking tools more efficiently. And now when you take control over their servers, you can now either trade those servers for more advanced hacking tools or sell them for BUSD and pigs, which is essentially your way of cashing out of the game. Now, the reason why I say you can't just be purely passive is because if you just spend all of your time building up your reputation for your botnet and infecting servers but you have not built up defenses to protect these servers, someone who might not have spent any time building up their infecting servers and spent a ton of time instead building up their offenses can come and take control of your servers. So it's a very well balanced game, and it's really, there's multiple strategies you can use to play the game, and no matter what, you need to have you can choose to do a more passive version of the game, and this would be building up your botnet and building up your reputation, which will more efficiently allow you to use your botnet as you join more advanced hacker groups, and use their assistance to spread your botnet. But you still have to be aware of your defense and how you're protecting those servers that you've infected, because someone that is building up their offenses can come take those up from you. And so there's the initial character that you buy into, and then there's a reputational score, which allows you to join larger groups. And one of the cool things is that I wanted to keep the animal theming, but still be true to the hacker element of the game. So the hacking groups that we chose to go with for the theming are hacker groups that have that are based on animal names, and there's some very famous hacker groups that use animals as their name, or animals as part of their name. So there's Cozy Bear. Let me just bring up a list of them, because it's it's pretty funny, some of these names. Let me see. So there's first of all, the first group that you can unlock based on your reputation is Script Kitty. So Script Kitty is a name that is given to people that are new hackers. Essentially, they don't know how to code. They just know how to use other people's scripts, and they're called Script Kitties, Kiddie. But we're going with the animal theming, so this group is called Script Kitty, Kitty. And then there's Cult of the Dead Cow, or Cult of Dead Cow, which is a famous hacker group from the 90s that created the first Trojan viruses. There's Lizard Squad, who did the PlayStation Network hack a couple years ago, and they were famous for extorting banks. Essentially doing simple DDoS attacks on bank websites, and then essentially extorting them, telling them, we'll take down your whole bank if you don't do this or this or this. And they focused on third world banks who didn't really have the knowledge to realize, just because they're taking down my website for 10 minutes, that doesn't mean they can take down my whole bank. There's Fancy Bear, which is a famous Russian espionage hacker group. There's Millworm, which is a group that created a worm, essentially, which is a type of virus. There's Wizard Spider, who were famous for hacking and selling credentials. There's Cozy Bear, which is another Russian group. Rocket Kitten. And then there's Guardian of Peace, which is a hacker group based out of North Korea that did the Sony hack, but we changed this to Guardian of Pigs just because it's a funny parody and goes with the animal theme. So these are the hacker groups that you can join as you build up your reputation, and it advances. So you start off your first level of reputation with Script Kitties. So you're working essentially with Script Kitties, and you have access to essentially Script Kitty type of tools. And then the next step is Cult of Dead Cow, and then finally, the last group that you'd be unlocking is Guardian of Pigs. Now, there's a few secrets in there because not everything is going to be made available at once. There's some levels that we want to keep as a surprise, but this is the basic concept, right? And there's also items that you can buy, and these items are very unique. So the game has its own auction system where various hacker tools that you can use can only be controlled by one person in the game. And it works like a form of auction where, say, I buy the access to the hacker tool. Now, I'm the only one that can control it. And this gives me a specific power in the game. When I buy it, the price of it automatically goes up by 50%. And now, someone could immediately buy it off of me for 50% more than I paid for it. Immediately, they have access to it. Now, someone can buy it off of him and immediately have access to it. So it's a type of auction system where, as the player, for holding this tool, you can use it, and it gives you special abilities in the game, but also you can make profit off of it because when you buy it, someone could immediately purchase it off you for 50% more. The price instantly goes up 50% higher every time someone buys it, and then the price ticks down every day by a little bit. So it becomes attractive again. So if the price gets really high, it has its own mechanism of coming down in price until the next person buys it, and when the next person buys it, the price then gets reset to 50% higher than whatever they bought it for. And there's about a dozen items. When the game first launches, you'll notice that you'll have a few items available to you and one group that's available to you to join, the script kiddies. But then but some of the other groups will be grayed out, so you'll be able to see them. So it will give you an idea of how the game will progress, but they will not be unlockable until your reputation gets large enough to be able to access them. And then some of them will not be grayed out; they will not be visible at all because we want to have them as a surprise. And also, the way that drip plays into the game, I want to be a surprise. So because it's really cool, and I know people are gonna love it. So I want to. The game's gonna go live. We're gonna let the game go live for a couple weeks. Announce. Some, and there are some items that can only be won by a lottery. So you have to team that are randomized, are trustless and verifiably random through the utilization of Chainlink, and also we're in talks with Chainlink to get co-promotion. So they're excited about the work that we're doing, not just on this game, but on Scratchy and on a Dogs Roulette game that we've built, which is finished as well. The Dogs Roulette game is a simpler game. It's high-paced. It's essentially Russian roulette, where you have a 1 in 6 chance of winning. The pot builds up, so you buy bullets for every bullet. For every shot you take, you're essentially throwing some dog in the pot, and everybody has a 1 in 6 chance of landing on the bullet. You land on the bullet, you win the built-up pot. So that is the Dogs Roulette game is just a high-paced, really fun, fast-paced game that's going to burn a ton of dogs. and also pay out prizes. We've done a bunch of projections, and the average prize is 3x what you put into it, and the way that it works is 50% of the dogs, which goes into the game pot, gets paid out as the prize. 20% goes into a treasury, and 10%. We'll see if it's revealed who he is. He has his own project that he's been working on, and he was a little bit iffy whether he wanted to come on because he has integrity like I have integrity, where he doesn't, if he feels like he has an obligation to work on his own project, he's very hesitant to come start something else. But I made it worth his while to do that. And he justified it by taking the capital that I paid him and putting it into his own thing. Using that to build up his project. So I'm not sure if he's going to want to be named just because he has his own project going on and stuff like that. But if I do name him, I'll talk to him about it. It's someone that a lot of people in the community would probably recognize. Even if you're not super into crypto, just from mobile games and this stuff, we really went for the highest tier, available. I really, and same as for the art, we used a very, very high-end artist and animator to get our art done for the game, because I feel like the art and the theming really makes the game. That and then the game theory, obviously, but the game theory, that's my specialty. That's something that I've spent the past 2 years working on. I wanted to make sure that the art represents the depth and the work that's been put into the game to make it what it is. So this is something that I'm super, super excited about. I think the game alone is something that people will be attracted to with or without the farm. But then, because it's built on top of the farm, it just adds so many new levels to the farm, and it makes it that much more attractive and builds up that much more demand. Now, for the dogs token, so I'm going to drop a lot of new info here. For the dogs token, we figured out how we're going to handle the vesting, the crediting, and future tokenomics of the dog token. So, the way that dogs is going to work is going to be similar to how we credited pigs, only it's not going to be vesting in the form of it's locked. So instead of having a system where you get credited your pigs and now they're locked and you can't do anything with them and they're slowly made available to you, instead we're going to, instead of locking them, we're just putting a tax on them, a high tax on them. So dogs that are earned in the farm and dogs that are credited will start off with essentially a 90% tax, or around a 90% tax. We have to dial in the numbers, and that's what we're doing right now with testing, but essentially a 90% tax. This tax, right, 100% of it will be swapped for B&B and paid out to the dog's single asset staking. So it acts as a form of vesting, but instead of locking people's capital up so they can't do anything with it, we give people the options. You can sell them, but if you sell them, you're going to generate a ton of B&B to the people who don't sell them. And there's something like $30-40 million worth of capital that can be used to generate B&B for payment to the people who are not selling. Now, this tax is not a permanent tax. It's a reducing tax. And because it's a reducing tax, it acts as a form of vesting, where your ability to access the tokens without having a high tax on them is made more and more available over time. The way that you reduce the tax on your dogs is by staking them in the single asset dog staking pool, and earning NFTs. These NFTs determine the tax that you pay on your dogs. So whether you're getting credited dogs or you're earning dogs in the farm, when you get these dogs, in order to reduce the tax, you put them in the single asset dog staking pool. While you're in the dog single asset staking pool, you're earning B&B for everybody who is selling their dogs with a tax applied to it. Now, as you sit in this dog single asset pool earning B&B, you're also earning NFTs, which are reducing the tax that you have to pay to sell dogs by the numbers that we're going on now. But we're running tests right now to dial the numbers, is about 10% a month. So essentially, your tax is reducing by 10% a month, and what this does is it allows you to it incentivizes people to lock up their dogs and earn B&B, and as they're earning B&B from weak hands that wanna dump dogs early and want to get out of it even with a higher tax, while you're earning B&B from them, you're also reducing the tax that you have to pay on dogs to sell it, to the point where the tax will drop all the way down to 6%. And then in that case, now you can sell the dogs. You're only incurring a 6% tax on selling those dogs because you've earned NFTs that you've staked, which has reduced the tax that you have to pay on dogs. And now you can sell those dogs. There's only a 6% tax on it. That 6% tax still pays the people that are in the single asset dog staking pool. So even if everybody decides that, hey, I'm going to just keep my dog staked, I don't want to sell it with a high tax, which is a form of vesting, there still will be B&B generated, because the lowest possible tax you could pay on dogs is 6% for selling them. Now, this B&B, which is generated from the sale of dogs through the tax on dogs, is split up. 2/3 going to the dog single asset staking pool, 1/3 going to the pig pen. So the B&B that's to the pig pen will be swapped for BUSD and paid out to the pig pen. This is going to generate a ton more capital going to the pig pen, because we know that although we're adding all of these new dynamics, where we're greatly improving the farm, we're adding in these games, these new utilities and use cases, there's still going to be some element of weak hands. But and what I don't want to do is tell these weak hands, you can't sell, you're vested, and you're going to get 2% a day available to sell or whatever, and then just let them sell that 2% a day, consequence free. Whereas instead, we could say, look, you can sell all of it right now, but you're only going to acquire 10% of the capital that it's worth. The other 90% is going to go to the people who are strong hands and who are staking it, and who are in this for the long haul. And then over time, every week or every month, the likely it will be something like 5% a week, something like that. Which of course would be 20% a month, so, something like that. We got to dial in the numbers, 10, 20% a month, something like that. The tax will be reduced for staking your dogs, and instead of preventing people from dumping, and giving them access to a little bit to dump at a time, instead we're saying, no, you can dump it if you want, but you're going to just generate a ton of capital for the people that don't dump it. And if you don't dump it, you can sit back and relax, collect a ton of B&B from the people who are, and your tax is being reduced. So when you are ready to take some profit responsibly, you're not going to get heavily taxed on it. And this is going to generate a ton of capital for both the pig pen and for the single asset dog staking pool, which now acts like a pseudo pig pen for dogs, but you're earning BNB in it. So in our system, you'll be able to earn both BNB and BUSD without selling any of the native assets. So that's huge, right? Now, another major update that we've made is that we're taking advantage of the V2 syrup pools. So, PancakeSwap was using their V1 syrup pools. We were using it for the back-end rehypothecation. So taking all of the capital that we have, the collateral on our contracts, and lending it to PancakeSwap's V1 syrup pool to earn yield. They switched over to V2, which is the main reason why we decided we gotta pause this so we can migrate over, because that's $30-40 million worth of BUSD every year that we'd be generating from these rehypothecations, and that's a major part of our system. And it wasn't worthwhile to say, oh, let's just keep going with this and forego $30 or $40 million worth of dividends we can pay to our investors. No, we're in this for doing it right, and we're in it for the long haul. It would have been easier. It would have been a way less hassle, and I'm sure we would have got less fun if we said, no, let's just move forward. We won't have the rehypothecation, but we'll be able to go live with it now. I wasn't willing to do that. I would rather say, look, let's pause it. Let's do it right. Let's update for V2. Let's take the opportunity to come back bigger than ever with multiple new products, with reworked tokenomics that really take it to the next level, with more efficient contracts, with more cash flows, and with this V2 syrup pool integration, so we can do our rehypothecation, so we can earn $30-40% million a year to pay out as revenue sharing to our governance stakers. People, I'm sure you're aware, you've seen there's been some FUD, there's been all of this, and these are people who would have rather have us just say, oh, screw it, they switched over. It would take a lot of work for us to do the update. Let's forget about it. Let's just go live. And people who are not longer term thinkers and who are not in this for long-term investment would have probably preferred that. But we're about doing it right, and we're about innovating, not just doing things to do it. We're about doing it the best way. We're about being original. We're about innovating, and that's important to me. Now, I've done a ton of work, and it's been it's been endless work behind the scenes. For one, I had to hire new developers because there's a lot more work that needs to be done. And also, when you've been working with the same developers for years, and you're grinding, and I grind, I'm working 12, 16 hours every day. I don't take a day off. Saturday night, I make sure that I watch the UFC fights with my friends. That's the one thing I do every week. Other than that, I work. And that's a grind for people. And people have families and all of this stuff. So, so I had to hire a couple additional developers to come on to kind of pick up the slack. And that's a process. And that took time. Also, I've been interviewing and working with various marketing firms to ensure that we have someone that is more capable than I am at managing marketing budgets, and to ensure that we're getting the most out of our marketing budgets when we're ready to go live. So I've been the one who has managed marketing this whole time, and people see that it's no accident we have 40,000 people in the Animal Farm group and over 100,000 active users. That's not by accident, right? I've put in a lot of work into marketing like this, like getting out there and speaking my ideas, doing interviews, having a lot of fun, and I love it. But it's more than a full-time job. It's a whole team worth of work to manage a marketing budget at the scale we're doing it. So that's something that I know we can improve. Because if I'm managing all that myself, managing the community, plus all the outreach, so much resources I have, and to be reaching out to marketers, to be fielding marketing opportunities, to be analyzing our marketing budget and how we're allocating it, and the effect we're getting per platform, and determining what we need to put more resources to, what we need to take away resources from, to be networking with people on social media to do marketing, for celebrity outreach, all of this stuff. That's not just a one-person job. That's a team job that really a marketing firm needs to handle. People that have that's what they do for a living, and they have the team to do it. So I spent a lot of time talking and reaching out to various marketing firms, and we have a few of them that are that will either be using the services of all three of them, and kind of doing it on so essentially hiring one person to oversee the few marketing firms that we've been in communication with, or bringing on one marketing firm to act as a full-time CMO essentially, and then utilize their team as a whole. And both of these options are available to us, and we're going to experiment with both options and see which works best. But I want to make sure that we're using our marketing budget as efficiently as possible and really just killing the paid marketing. And when I have people handling these jobs for me, that gives more time for me to be doing these kinds of interviews, doing the AMAs, being in the community. Now, I want people to know that we've had a lot of people reach out for interviews, and I'm constantly having opportunities, but when we get a main opportunity, I've been telling our project manager. So I brought on Stonecutter as a project manager, and he's been doing an amazing job. He worked management before I hired him, so he's been very, very good at project managing. So when these marketers reached out to him asking, do you want to do an interview here? Do you want to do this? I've told him, if it's someone in the drip community already, set up the interview. We'll do 1 or 2 a week. But if it's a major platform that isn't in the drip community already, put it off a couple weeks, so that way we have our launch date. So I have a hard date to promote when I go on there. So that's one of the reasons that I've been kind of sitting back for now, doing AMA here or there, or an interview here and there with drip communities, and you really haven't seen me hitting it hard in some of the bigger platforms. And that's just because I want to save those opportunities for the run up to going live, so we can have a real concentrated promotion once we have the launch date. And as far as getting a launch date, I'm careful about giving a date until all the work is done. But the V2 contracts are all finished. The Dogs Roulette game is finished. We just need the art for it and the UI. The Pigpen game is finished, both the contracts and the UI. We just need the art for it. And then we need to wrap up testing and audits. And this is we're very, very close. We are I want to be super careful about giving dates, but I can say confidently that we're you know, we're a couple weeks. We're like we are right around the corner and getting art and that kind of phase. We're the now, so we're right there. We're right on the we're right about to be ready to give a date on it. And when we give a date, we're gonna go harder than ever, and people are gonna be blown away by the products that we're delivering, how the new tokenomics are going to perform. I think they're going to be a highly performative because we're not crediting anybody to the MasterChef contracts, which means when we go live on the new MasterChef contracts, they're starting off fresh. Right? It'll be everybody's. It'll be like the farms are starting off day one, and so that's very attractive for new capital to come in. And now it's also extremely attractive for people to buy dogs and pigs for fresh capital to come in, because you can buy dogs, stake them in the single asset dog stake pool, and now right? Some percentage of people that get credited are going to be weak hands. They're going to dump. And when they dump, they're going to generate B&B that's going to get paid out to the dog stakers. That's going to go to not only strong hands that get credited and put it in there to reduce their tax and get credited B&B, but also new people that buy. You can come in and buy on day one, get into the dog's credit, get into the dog's single asset pool, and be rewarded for any of the weekends that decide to dump when they get credited. And there's like $30 million worth of capital that's going to be credited to people, which is either going to be capital that stays in the system or pays people that do keep their capital in the system. So it makes the tokenomics way stronger, because now the dogs token is a farm reward token, but is a farm reward token that has an element of vesting, which is like a pseudo vesting that does allow you to dump. But if you dump early, the earlier you dump, the more B&B, the more tax you pay, which means the more B&B goes to people who are not dumping early. So that's huge. And then, it's also cool that we're adding NFTs to the platform too. So by staking the single asset dogs, you're unlocking NFTs, which reduce your tax. And that's adds a whole new element of game theory to it as well, which is going to be awesome. And I should also say the Pigpen game also has an element of NFTs. Now we're not having all of the assets in the game be NFTs, and the reason for that is because we have very, very well tuned pricing mechanics on the assets in the game that would be disrupted if the assets were represented by NFTs that could be diluted, so they could be sold on a secondary market, be diluted. So the majority of assets are they're on-chain in-game assets represented by characters that you could interact with on the UI. But there are some characters in the game and some items which are represented by NFTs. And it's a balance between having the cool utility of NFTs, but also making sure that the economy of the game is sound and balanced. And that's that's why I brought on a very well experienced game dev to help me tune it. That's why I've spent the past 2 years developing this. And I feel very good about taking an idea that I've wanted to build for 2 years and make it into its own major project, and providing that as another major use case and utility for the animal farm. So it feels good to do that. Now, on top of this, there's a ton of other things that I want to build. I spoke in the last AMA about how I hired James Devstreak to complete the new drip UI. So not to well, I to be transparent, I don't think James would mind me saying he's not very experienced with Solidity. So the issue was, are we? And there's a new contract I want to build for Drip to further incentivize people using the faucet. So, kind of the issue was I wanted to hire James Devstreak to do the UI, but to do the UI, he was also doing new contracts, and that made it a bit difficult because he's not super experienced in Solidity. I didn't want to have his first major project to be one of my projects. I don't want him essentially experimenting on on a major project like Drip. So I spent a couple days, and this week I reached out to some other developers that I've worked with in the past who are extremely skilled, and I had a meeting yesterday with a developer who I've worked with in the past a couple years ago, who is extremely skilled at Solidity. And we had a meeting yesterday. He is he is on board with what we discussed as far as him doing the Solidity, James doing the UI, and then working as a team. And I have to write essentially an overview of exactly what I want today, and then sit down with them in a meeting to work out essentially a whole like workflow scale and deadlines and all that stuff, and then we'll be full steam ahead as well with a very skilled UI dev who's going to take all of the cool tools that he's built, put them on the Drip UI, the main Drip UI, with a bunch of new tools that he has ideas for, plus a revamped team structure that allows you to do team airdrops in one transaction instead of having to break it and do one at a time, confirming a million different transactions to airdrop to your team. Instead, it's going to be a matter of using the filter to determine who you want to airdrop to on your team, passing those addresses and that budget to a contract, confirming, approving, confirming, and boom, that's it. All the airdrops are done in one transaction. We're having that built, and we're also having a new contract built, which is going to be, it's going to make depositing into the faucet more attractive, and it's going to be a secondary option for your deposit to the faucet. So you can deposit to the faucet the normal way, or you can deposit to the faucet using the new contract. All of the Drip deposited still goes to the same tax vault. It's still none of the major mechanics of the faucet are changing. In fact, none of the mechanics of the faucet are changing. This is just another layer built on top of it that you can choose to use a reward structure built into it. And I'll get more into the details of that once we build out all the workflow, because I have the main concept of what I want to, but I think there's a couple things that we could tweak to improve it, and I want to make sure when I officially publicly talk about what we're going to do, it's exactly what we're going to do. I don't want to undersell it by giving the concept before we've really put the the finishing touches on it. So that's also something that's very exciting. So we have the mechanic in the new game for Drip, and also we have some new things that are coming with Drip platform itself. And then we have Scratchy, which will be finished in August, which will be finished well, actually, likely it will be finished before August, but for sure it'll be finished by August. That's like, I'm sure it'll be finished by August. More likely it'll be finished like early next month. But Scratchy is also huge for both Animal Farm and Drip, because it's an extremely attractive, unique service that is going to raise cash flow to both buy back drip, send drip to the default, also buy back the animal farm tokens, and have revenue sharing. So it's the most Scratchy is the most gamified BNB staking protocol that allows you to get paid out in BNB while also having a wide variety of prizes that you can win for doing so. And of course, it's utilizing Chainlink as well. So Chainlink is going to be a big part of our project moving forward because we have 3 new products coming out: the Dogs Roulette game, the Pigpen game, and Scratchy, that are all utilizing Chainlink. And I've been in direct communication with them the whole time, and they are excited. Now, let me just say something about partnerships, because there's a difference between a partnership with a kind of lower level project that hasn't done too many partnerships, and they may not have the best utilities, and you're just trying to work something out with them, and a project like Chainlink, who all they do is partnerships. They're very good at it. They're very professional, and that's something that I'm 100% confident that we will be able to secure, no problem. And regardless, we don't need a partnership to utilize them, but they are excited about a partnership and a co-promotion. So I want to give at least a half an hour to answer some questions. So I'm just gonna. I wanted to get out all those updates, and there's a bunch more I could talk about, but I want to give some time to answer questions. So please hit me with some questions.
Yeah, I've posted some in the room already. I don't know if you noticed.
No, I'm not. You could just read them off to me, because I'm not reading the chat and all of that. I don't want to get distracted.
I can be good between to read them off if you want to.
Sure. Yeah, one at a time.
Sure. Let's see. Can you briefly go over the mechanics of the reservoir? It has become a lot more popular as time goes on. How important is it to sustainability of Drip Network and the ecosystem as a whole? And do you have any advice on weathering the bear market? From Rich Cult.
Okay, so as far as weathering the bear market, I've had some people DM me what's up with Drip? Why is Drip corrected? These kinds of questions. And I don't really understand it, other than just people don't understand liquidity pools work. We have a shared liquidity pool with BNB. And what that means is we have a stablecoin pool which somewhat offset that, but we still have a liquidity pool, which is going to have us correcting with the rest of the market, at least if we don't have people buying drip at such a rate to offset the correction of the rest of the market. But when you consider the whole market has corrected, especially altcoins, 80-90%, it's like Drip, but Drip has also paid out 1% the whole time doing it. That should give you perspective. That we've corrected with the rest of the market, but also you've earned 1% compound interest, which these other assets that have corrected the same amount of us aren't paying you. Like if you like Cake is corrected 90% altcoin that pays yield. What, 30% APY? And it's corrected 90%. Drip has corrected just on par with Cake, and it's paying out 3,000% APY. If you're considering 365% 1% a day compound interest compounded, that's over 3,000% APY. So when you consider APY into our price performance, we are outperforming and blowing everything else out of the water. And on top of this, we were coming off a major pump. So not only were we pumping because the whole rest of the market was pumping, we were also pumping just launched Animal Farm because of other promotion we were doing. So Drip had just done like a 5x on top of a 5x against the rest of the market. So that alone is going to have somewhat of a correction, and then the market corrects, 90%, and you have to account for these things. But when you consider the APY that we're paying out, the daily ROI, we are blowing other projects out of the water, and that's even with us, kind of taking a step back to really work on building utility and doing the groundwork for the next major push. So I'm confident. I've always and that's another thing. So projects like garbage projects like Elephant and some of these other 300x and 100x when they were fundamentally unsound, and anybody who took the time to knew they were fundamentally unsound, but some of these communities specifically targeted us and were promoting, hey, sell your drip for our product, use your drip ROI to buy our product. And from the start, these products were fundamentally unsound. I warned people these products are fundamentally unsound. There's major issues with them. Stick with what you know. Stick with what you know is fundamentally sound. Stick with developers with solid track records, not developers who have launched 8 projects in the past 2 years, and every single one of them has been exploited. But people want to go to the next shiny new toy. They don't want to buy value. They want to buy hype. And that's how you get wrecked. And that's what happened. And unfortunately, some of that capital came out of Drip. And hopefully the Drip community and the Drip investor base use that as a learning, as a learning opportunity, and became smarter, more experienced investors, and will not fall for this in the next major bull cycle. Now, the reservoir is it's essentially our liquidity provider contract for our native DEX in Drip. And we are not only creating a new contract for the faucet to incentivize the use of the faucet contract, we are also providing the same new you could call it a utility. It's more like an incentive structure. This new incentive structure to the faucet as well. And the faucet is how we pay our liquidity providers to Drip on the native DEX. And it's also a form of staking that you can stake BNB and earn BNB. So the way that it works is when you stake BNB into the faucet, it takes half of that BNB that you just deposited, buys Drip with it, and then pairs that Drip for liquidity on our native pool. Now, 1% of every swap that takes place on our native DEX, the BNB used for this swap gets paid out to the reservoir, to the stakers in the reservoir. And it's paid out in a form of time-weighted rewards, which means the longer you stay in there, the greater share of the liquidity provider fees you get paid, gets allocated to you. And the way that works is when you deposit the BNB, it gets paired with Drip for you, and then 3% of it gets immediately paid out to the people who are already in the reservoir. 2% gets permanently locked in the liquidity pool. And then 4% gets put in a time-weighted vault contract that pays out 2% of its balance daily to people in the reservoir. And this 1% liquidity provider fee that's taken from each swap on the native deck goes into this time-weighted vault, and that is also dripped out to the liquidity providers in the reservoir. Because the reservoir is locking up liquidity and giving incentive for multiple people to add liquidity, it decentralizes the liquidity pool. It locks the liquidity pool, and because 2% is permanently locked, that creates a ever-increasing price floor, which essentially prevents drip from being able to collapse below a specific price, which is constantly rising. So the reservoir is very important to our native decks. It's something that was innovative when we built it. It's still innovative because even though there's been some people who have tried to fork drip, none of them got all the mechanics. None of them really nailed it. And the reservoir is unique. It's 100% unique to our platform. And the incentive structure that we will be adding through collaboration with some of the new developers that we hired will both be for the faucet and the reservoir. Now, let me just say, I've hired 4 new developers in the past 4 or 5 months. And these are very skilled developers that I've worked with just to ensure that, because I want to be able to, when we go live with multiple new products, and I wanted to ensure that we could do that on a timely manner. And of course, it's always going to take longer than people would want it to take. People always want things done as fast as possible, and I understand that it's taking a while to do it. But it's really because we're taking this to the next level when we go live. We're not just going live with the same contract with some slight tweak or something like that. We're really coming back with major improvements. Another major improvement that we made to Animal Farm, for example, is that previously the deposit fees, which are generated from the farm, 25% of it was previously going to the liquidity helper contract. And dogs, 3% of every transaction of dogs was going to the liquidity helper contract. And when the BUSD on the contract hit a threshold, it would then pair this BUSD with dogs to add liquidity to dogs. Now, if there was more dogs value on the contract, liquidity helper contract, than BUSD, it would sell a portion of those dogs to create an equal value of both, so it could add all of the liquidity. We adjusted this, so instead of selling those dogs, it burns those dogs. So now the new system can only add by pressure and only remove dogs from circulation, never sell dogs. So we've made so many improvements, just on the basic contracts and the tokenomics. And on top of this, we added a bunch of new products and a bunch of new functions. And then another thing that I've already spoken to that I don't want to, I don't want to give too much attention to, but it is something that is justified. Some of the developers that I've been working with them for years. And people, when they're working for years and years and years, not everybody can go at the pace that I'm willing to work at for the amount of time that I'm willing to commit. Because of that, I've needed to hire new developers to pick up other people's slack and all this stuff, and that took time. But it's for better. Like, everything I'm doing is for the better. And remember that the PIGS token gets its value from the farm, from being the governance token in the farm. So people that have the PIGS token right now, this is a token which represents the future value of the farm. This is your opportunity to invest in the farm, similar to a pre-sale before the product goes live. And a lot of people have an issue with buying value. They want to buy the hype. And when you buy the hype, that's when you end up buying tops. You want to be the one buying value. You want to be the one that's buying pigs now. So when it goes live and it has all these cash flows and all these new use cases, you're not buying into a lower supply of pigs at a higher price. You're buying now from the weak hands who want to sell it to you at a low value. So keep all of that in mind. Now is the time that people win, right? Now is the bear market. Now is when you build and you accumulate. Okay, you can do that.
Okay, next question. Can you share any ideas or details about marketing plans that you have upcoming? Specifically, if you're still targeting the Asian markets, what kind of budget, what marketing vehicles are planned, and how long will the push be sustained? From Claypot.
Yeah, so with marketing, I've already kind of spoken to this. We are going to experiment both with using several marketing firms that are prepared right now, that I've been spending time preparing for us going live. We're going to experiment with working with one that I feel is the best one and really sticking with them. And we're going to experiment with using a variety of them and kind of contracting them out for specific things and see what works best for us. But I think the major change that you guys are going to see is that we're bringing on professionals for our paid marketing. So we're bringing on a team of people who that's all they do is manage marketing budgets and market fintech and crypto projects. And that's going to make a huge difference. And people that know me know I didn't even put a dev fee on Drip. I'm not the kind of person that cares about a large dev fee. I'm someone that wants the project to succeed at all costs. So you can rest assured that any capital that we get that's allocated to marketing will be spent on marketing. And the only reason why we've built up a marketing budget that hasn't all been utilized yet is just a matter of resources, just a matter of I only can do so many things at once, and I'm managing a million things at once, and this is why we're bringing on a marketing firm to help with that. And it's going to make a huge difference. And integrity is something that's very important to me. It's something that it's not something that I need to really work on because it comes naturally to me, but it's important to me. So it's always it's something that's a given for me. So if there's a percentage of capital allocated to marketing, it will be used for marketing. And a lot of it hasn't been used for marketing yet. We had before V1 went live, we did pay probably like $150,000 for a variety of ads on Dex Tools and a variety of sites, DAP Radar and DeFi Calendar and Rugdoc and we got Paladin audits and all of that stuff, which is all very important for promotion and marketing, and it costs a lot of money. But we have a lot of untapped marketing funds that were not tapped just because it takes a lot of resources to properly manage a marketing fund, and I wasn't about to use that capital inefficiently. I wanted to ensure if we're going to use this capital, we're going to use it right. So I wasn't going to just spend it to spend it. But it's all sitting there. It's all in the same account, ready to go for when we go live. And I just want to wait until we have a hard date to start really putting that capital to work. Because I don't want to, waste capital and waste resources and waste exposure on platforms without having a specific date to launch or promote. So So that's that. We're gonna, and not only that, building up my team, is going to it's going to free up a lot more time for me to be able to do these kinds of interviews and AMAs and stuff like that as well. So right now we're just in full on grind mode. I'm in meetings all day, every day. Yeah. And I just, I'm spending my time in meetings, building up the team, setting up opportunities, talking with different developers that I'm working with to make sure everything's built, talking to artists, just talking to auditors, full on grind mode, and that's why I'm not super active in the chat, because instead of talking in the chat, I'm in meetings and really handling things behind the scenes. But as soon as we have a date to go live, then it becomes my job to be in the chat. Then it becomes my job to be in interviews and doing that kind of things. So you're going to see a lot more of me.
Excellent. Ray Bartertown, he wants to know if you are, one second, let me read it. If you're possibly going to have something similar to the new drip incentive for the reservoir as well using BNB.
Yeah, I just spoke to that. So, Ray is a good friend of mine. I've known him for years, long-time supporter, and he's the man, right? He's done so much good work for us, and he's very, I'm looking for the positive word for unselfish. I'm just drawing a blank on the word, but he's very giving. He's a great person. And I appreciate Ray so much. And to answer his question, yes, yeah, absolutely. That's something that I think can further separate us from the half-assed clones and forks that have tried to, when I was looking at how we're going to set up the dogs tokenomics, the new dogs tokenomics, I was like, all right, let me spend a couple weeks looking at everything that's been launched over the past year, just to try to inspire myself. Maybe I see an idea that was tried by someone that didn't take off because maybe it was done wrong, but it has a seed of something interesting there, or they didn't get the proper promotion behind it, or whatever. Let me just look to see what's out there, what's new, and maybe I can get inspired from it. And literally, the only thing I saw was broken algo stable projects, drip forks, and farms and miners. And the farms weren't doing anything interesting. The farms were, basically sushi clones that are like 2 years old. None of them doing anything innovative, doing anything original or new. The drip forks are just inferior versions of drip. And then algo stable coins, which are all going to go to zero. I mean, they're all inevitably going to die, unfortunately. So we had to go to the drawing board and really just inspire ourselves, I guess. And Crypto Mischief, he's another YouTuber, big supporter, and the man. He brainstormed with us, and he was someone that helped come up with the NFT idea. Actually, he didn't come up with the NFT idea. He came up with the dog's tax idea, and then we continued to brainstorm and came up with the idea that the tax acts as a form of vesting. It pays BNB that's generated from the tax to the people who are in the single asset staking pool, earning the BNB and earning the NFTs, which are reducing their tax over time. So it's just it's a bit of game theory that just really takes our original idea really to the next level. Another thing that I want to bring up, because it's something that's going to be awesome. Our governance pool that so what happens with the capital that's rehypothecated, all of the capital that's in the pairs and now the single assets. So previously we were only rehypothecating the pairs. We came up with a model that now allows us to also rehypothecate the single assets, which is going to at least double our the APY that we're generating on the back end for pigpen injections. Now we earn cake on the back end. This cake gets sold for BUSD. We use this BUSD for marketing and pigpen injections. Now we have a governance model that that we originally developed so people could vote on future partnerships, future tokenomic tweaks, small tweaks, things like this. We have come up with a model that's going to make this governance way more fun and way more attractive. And how we're going to do that is a percentage of the BUSD that's generated from the cake that we're earning on the back end through rehypothecation and selling for BUSD that will be used for pigpen injections. A small percentage of that, say 5%, will be used as a form of crowdfunding. And what I mean by this is the governance stakers, the people in pigs, will vote on where we stake that 5%. And we will make proposals on various options that people can vote on, and it's a form of crowdfunding where we can take advantage of whatever the hype new thing is. Maybe it's a little bit more of a high risk model, but this is why we're only using a small percentage, but still a small percentage of, millions of dollars. And we will be staking that capital based on what the governance voters decide we will stake it in. And then that yield that we earn from there will be used for pigpen injections. So we'll have, I would say probably bi-monthly or maybe once a month, have a vote of the governance model to decide where we're going to put a percentage of the BUSD that is allocated for pigpen injections. And it could be anything from, the latest AVAX node or, a new product that PancakeSwap just launched. Really, we could be flexible with it. So that's going to be, I know that's going to be a ton of fun as well. And we already have that built because we already have the governance system built. It's just a matter of using it for that. So that's another thing that is going to be very exciting that we can utilize when the farm goes live. When we go live, we're about to hit people with a new product and something awesome and new every couple weeks. And this is why we spent a few months really putting in the work. So it's all finished and developed. So when we go live, we can hit people with something new every couple weeks that's super bullish because we know it's already done. It's already built, ready to go.
All right. So Pro Bitcoin wants to know whatever happened to the we were supposed to get our own DEX on the official website. Is that still in the plans?
There is a DEX on the Drip website.
No, not on the farm. I mean, the animal farm. Forgive me.
So people, so currently on I don't know what he means by his own DEX. It was never an idea that we're going to build a whole DEX. There's no reason for us to build a whole DEX. What we have is the ability for people to add liquidity and buy our native assets without leaving the site. And we've implemented the ability for people to add liquidity. And in fact, I'm not sure if we've updated the ability to buy the native assets from the site, but that's something that we've already built. I'm just not sure if we implemented it or not yet. But because I have, there's so much in development right now. But there's no you don't want to try to do everything at once. So there's no reason for us to launch our own DEX because we want to be on the decks where the volume is. We want to be on the decks where the buyers are. The only way I would ever build our own decks is if we could make significant improvements and innovations to the current decentralized exchange model. And I do have ideas for how we could do that, but that's a major thing. That's not something that you just do. So that's not that's not something in the works. We're not trying to build our own decks. What we do have is the ability for people to add liquidity to PancakeSwap on our native UI without leaving the site, and that has, I know that's already been pushed to the site, and also the ability to buy our native assets on PancakeSwap without leaving our site. And that's something that I know is built. I don't know if we pushed it to the site yet, but that's what we're doing. Building our own decks is not bullish. That's we want to be on the decks where all of the trading is happening, and unless we're doing something that is going to be a major improvement to the current DEX model, and if that's the case, then that's its own major thing. That's not something that we just do as a side thing on the farm. And if we did do that, that wouldn't be bullish, right? That would we would get less volume, less traffic doing it that way. That's one of the things. This is one of the reasons why we started off with our native DEX for Drip, because we implemented all kinds of things with Drip that we couldn't get with PancakeSwap, but we ended up getting liquidity on PancakeSwap anyways, because when you try to get on CoinMarketCap, when you try to get on CoinGecko, when you try to get on DAppRadar and all of these sites, they're pulling data from PancakeSwap and they're pulling data from Uniswap, and to get them to implement data from a native DEX is a big deal, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and it's really only worth doing if it's a major product. So if we were going to revolutionize the DEX model, then yes, but no, I think that's just a misunderstanding of what we were trying to do and what we're doing.
Next question. On the upcoming farms, can you start us salivating a little and building anticipation by giving us some possible introductory interest rates? And what, if any, time lock lengths are you considering for them? Anything said here would be really helpful in personal financial planning. So we are having a good day. That's from Crypto Tony.
Yeah, so because we are not crediting people to the farms and pools themselves, that means it's going to start off fresh, and that means high APYs, right? That means we're going to start off with very high APYs because it's like a brand new farm going live, and we're crediting people the dogs to the single asset dog staking pool. So that's the way it's going to work. It's going to be very high APY, and we're not adding time locking to any of the farms and pools. What we're doing is implementing a tax model that acts as a form of vesting, but doesn't prevent people from selling. It just generates a tax that pays out BNB to people that are holding and staking, and to the pig pen, and then over time the people who are staking and earning that BNB are also reducing their tax, essentially reducing their vesting model. So we for the pigs, we are making some changes as far as for example with the game. When you cash out, so the game, the way that the pigpen game is working is when you deposit into the game, you're depositing pigs, it's staking those pigs on your behalf. Now, the pigs and BUSD that those pigs that have been staked on the player's behalf in the game is being used as the pot. So once a day, the game is depositing on behalf of everybody and withdrawing the available pigs and withdrawing the available BUSD. But to ensure the game isn't draining and putting pigs in circulation, when people go to cash out of the game, the BUSD that they cash out of the game goes to their wallet. The pigs that they're cashing out of the game goes into their pig pen stake, and then is subject to the same vesting as a normal pig pen stake. And this is just to ensure that people can cash out BUSD out of the game without draining pigs from the pig pen if they don't want to. So there are, of course, vesting models with pigs and dogs. We went with a way better alternative, I feel, than to vesting, because instead of just locking people up, we're giving them more options. But also, the most bullish part is generating a ton more capital for people who don't dump early.
Rad Dad wants to know, if you could start everything from scratch, what would you do differently and why?
Oh, well, there's a few things that I would do, which we've done in V2. One of them is that I would add flexibility to change the back-end staking contract for the lending, the rehypothecation. The reason why we didn't do that initially is because the auditors wanted to give us a hard time about it. Because, there's, if you could change that, then you could change it to, for example, one of the developers' wallet. I could change it to my wallet or whatever the case may be. Now, the thing is, it makes no sense to do that, because if I was to do that, first of all, everybody would see me doing that, and it would also only allow me to access a portion of the capital, and then, of course, everybody else would withdraw, and it would wreck the project, first of all. So there's no incentive for me to do that. Secondly, what we've done is added a multi-signature model now, where I'm the only one who has the access to change the back-end staking, but to do it, it requires the signature of multiple developers. So now it's we've secured it in that way as well, and also we've limited it to only be able to update to pancake swap type lending contracts. So I would say one thing we would do is add more flexibility, and of course sometimes auditors they want to give you a hard time about adding more flexibility, but there is a way to do it and still be secure, just as secure as if you didn't have the flexibility. And I mean, in the big picture, look at these auditors. I'm really someone that's not a big fan of auditors, because I see one project after another get audited and exploited, and they're getting exploited by the most obvious, simple stuff that I see. Before they even contract, before I even see the contract, I just hear what the project is, and I'm like, that's exploitable. The logic for that is all messed up. How is that not exploitable? And then I look at the contracts. Oh yeah, that's exploitable. Also, they've been audited 3 times by 3 major auditing firms. And then I go tell the developer, hey, I just want to let you know, I was looking at your project. I believe it's exploitable because of this reason, this reason, this reason. And then half the time they tell me, no, it was audited. They say that it's secure. And I'm like, all right, man, whatever. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. Fine. And then a month later, they get flash loan attacked and their whole treasury gets drained. This has happened over and over and over again. From lottery projects that I reached out to algo staking coins that I've reached out to, over and over again. All of them were audited. So audits, yes, they're helpful. But at the end of the day, the logic of a skilled developer who has the best intentions for their investor base is going to go way further than any auditor who really has the incentive to just grind out as many audits as possible and is using automated scripts to audit these contracts and not even considering the logic of the systems that they're auditing, or how someone could potentially use the contracts in a way that's not intended. So there's that, right? Being doing what I know is correct and adding the flexibility that we need. Even if an auditor is going to give us like a hard time about it, of course, there's technical issues where, yes, if an auditor gives us a hard time about a specific technical issue, then that's completely understandable. That's something that we need to fix. We've never had that happen, right? Because first of all, one of the developers that I brought on did quality control for Certic for years, and he has extremely high incentive for the projects to be secure, unlike a lot of the auditors that are just doing it just because it's another job for them. Also, the people that I'm working with are very skilled. I'm someone that has very good, I'm very good at breaking down the logic of systems and looking for potential issues with them. So there's that. There's adding the flexibility where we know we need the flexibility to make updates and improvements and adjustments. And then there is it's closed.
Sorry. All right, but this one is a popular one. A bunch of people asked if you could partner with any DApp right now, which one would it be? Is there anything on your wish list? Any companies you want to
Chainlink.
invite?
Chainlink.
That's cheating. You already have one. You already have Chainlink.
No, but they're trash. Like literally, I cannot think of one solid project out there that is EVM based, right? Of course, there's some projects with their own chains that have their own utility that you couldn't do on the Ethereum network, that kind of thing. But no, I mean, I guess a Pancake Swap. I would partner with Pancake Swap. I would partner with Chainlink. That's it, man. I don't see anybody doing anything interesting. That's honest. That is it is what it is. Like when I look, I literally just spent the last 2 weeks going over everything that's been launched in the past year, and it's literally broken algo stablecoins. It's drip forks, and it's farms that aren't doing anything new or interesting.
Okay, fair enough. This next question. My downlines are freaking out since they found out Drip started minting. I've been having a hard time explaining to them there's nothing to worry about. Can you shed some light on how additional tokens can impact the price and what your plan is to get them out of circulation? That's from Roz Q. I can't spell this.
Yeah, so Drip is designed to mint to ensure that if there's no drip in the tax vault, that people can still get paid their dividends. Now, the reason why drip is not in the tax vault is because it migrated over to the Pancake Swap liquidity pool, the Drip Garden, and these other contracts that we gave people to stake their drip to earn yield. And people always want to go with the higher risk, higher reward model, which I believe is the wrong way to go, right? At least have some exposure to it, maybe 10% or something. But people want to go all in on whatever the hottest new thing is, and because of that, a lot of people took capital that lived in the faucet and put it in the drip garden or paired it on Pancake Swap to add to the farm, and this capital did not go into circulation. The capital didn't go into circulation because the price of drip has corrected on par with the price of the rest of the market. And that's just simply due to pairing with BNB. But and as I said, when you consider the ROI that the faucet is paying out, we have outperformed all of these assets. Cake, if you look at Cake, we have corrected essentially the same exact percentage as Cake, while we're paying out 1% compound interest, and Cake is paying out 30% APY. So, so Drip is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. When it doesn't have Drip in the tax vault, it will mint to pay out those dividends, but that doesn't mean more Drip is in circulation. It means that Drip is locked up in other places other than the vault. And you know this because the price isn't significantly underperforming the market. If the price was significantly underperforming the market, then I would say, okay, yes, Drip is being minted and it's being sold in the market. No, that's not the case. Drip is being taken and staked in these various other staking platforms other than the faucet, and Drip is performing on par with the rest of the market while paying a 1% compound interest. So when the farm goes live and there's incentive for people to be pairing and staking more Drip, when the Pigpen game gives another awesome utility for Drip, and when we build out the new UI and new incentive models for Drip, that's, first of all of those things take Drip and put them in the tax pool. We don't burn Drip. We could easily burn Drip and get the total supply of Drip back down to under where it was, under 1 million tokens on the next bull run. I don't see that as the best thing to do. What I see as the best thing to do is to take Drip that otherwise would be burned and send it to the tax pool, and then this can be used to pay off dividends in the future and offset minting in the future. But minting is not something that I didn't anticipate. Right? It's something that it was built in as a buffer to get us through times like this when you have major market corrections and there's interest in other staking pools, so the faucet could continue to operate and doesn't just freeze up and break because it can't pay out dividends. And then, when attention goes back to the faucet, or when we have a positive, another bull run, or the market cycle shift, the faucet is still there operating. It didn't break because it ran out of Drip to pay. So, Drip minting is not something to worry about. All that tells you is Drip, instead of going to the tax vault, has been put in other staking contracts, which we knew would happen. Right? We knew when we launched these other staking contracts, people would be attracted to them. Some capital that was in the faucet would move over to them, and if I didn't think this was a possibility, I wouldn't have put a mint function in the to ensure that the faucet could make it through a time like this. So it's not something that I worry about. It's working as designed, and if Drip was significantly underperforming the market, then I would see something to be concerned about. But it's not. It's overperforming the market. So, it's nothing to be worried about. Drip's working the way it's designed to work.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to combine a couple of questions because they're similar but not exactly.
Yep.
Is there any plans on onboarding non-crypto investors, especially by doing things like doing an app store app for Drip, or accepting Visa debit cards directly on the website without having to do anything other than, to target more of the...
Yeah, so we definitely want to do it on the website because we're not going to start KYCing people and, breaking KYC laws and that kind of thing. But absolutely, we could use third parties such as MoonPay, and there's one other that I believe we will be able to have service us because they're serving other projects that are way under us as far as user base and volume and notability. It's really just a matter of putting in the work to get that stuff done. And I've had more than my hands full with Animal Farm and getting Animal Farm live. But as soon as Animal Farm goes live, then I can start to focus on some additional things. And I just had, as a matter of fact, now that you brought that up, I'm going to relay this to my project manager and have him get on that, because I did send a application to both companies, and I've just had my hands full and my full attention on getting Animal Farm live and hiring and doing all the other things I've been doing. That's not something I've had my attention on, but that is absolutely something we can do. And
that would be beautiful.
Yeah, now that you brought it up, I want to. I'm going to have my project manager reach out to them and check the status of that. And once we do have, once we do have an on-ramp, a fiat on-ramp like that, then yes, we could do a lot of things. We could do app store type of work. We could have kiosks, right? Someone reached out that is the owner of a gas station franchise that was interested in doing a kiosk type model in his gas stations, where people could come into his gas station, buy and stake drip, and essentially use the kiosks in his gas stations, sort of like an ATM, where they can buy and stake drip and earn yield from it. And anybody that uses his kiosk is also on his team, so they automatically get set to his team. So he's generating capital from doing this. The one thing that prevents us from doing that is a fiat on-ramp, because most people that walk into gas stations don't have B&B sitting in their wallet. They don't even have a MetaMask wallet. So a fiat on-ramp would make it very easy for people to have those kind of kiosks to both promote. And that's, of course, absolutely something that's attractive to me. It's just a matter of setting up the infrastructure to do that. And these things take time. And it's something that takes time and resources. But this is why I've been building up my team. And, I'm glad that this was just brought up, because this is something that I applied for. And I need to check the status of that. And I'm going to tell my project manager to do that.
This one's a bit of a cheeky question.
Okay.
He wants to know if you're open more to embracing the OnlyFans crowd, and replacing like the likes of Patreon and alike, where porn stars can porn stars.
So I would say I'm 100% open to someone taking advantage of that. So someone that has this kind of service that they want to use drip as a type of payment structure, where people are essentially paywalled from accessing this content. They're paywalled by the team system, so someone would have to deposit a specific amount of drip on their team to get access to content hidden behind a paywall, is a model that would absolutely work. And I spoke about this in the past, about how influencers could use this model. And really, it's about the community stepping up and using it, because the infrastructure is there to do it, right? We have the bot that allows people to set up that paywall system. It can be implemented into Telegram, and really, it's about someone stepping up and utilizing it for that.
Okay,
because
so let's say I'm the owner of OnlyFans or something like that. If I wanted to get a hold of that bot, who do I contact? How do I get the process started? Is there a website? Is there a form? I think making things like that would make approaching you much easier.
These are these bots are not. So, for example, CollabBot is a well-known bot that I use for my DAO system. And what this bot does is it checks on-chain data, and you can set up a variety of parameters that it checks when someone connects their wallet, and if they meet a specific criteria that CollabBot is checking and verifying, then it gives them a link to a private group, and it could be a private Telegram group, a private Discord group. So these things, like, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel and build something that's already doing this. It's a matter of someone just using it, right? Just and if anybody wants to reach out and needs help setting this up or something, for sure I could get someone to help them do that. Right now, as I said, my full focus is on Animal Farm and getting that live. But once Animal Farm is live, then I'll have a lot more free time to try to onboard influencers and get people to set up these systems as well. But the infrastructure is already there, right? The blockchain's there, the team structure's there, the bot that verifies on-chain data before giving access to a private group is there. It's all there. It's just a matter of someone using it. And of course, we could build a website to make it a lot easier for people to do this. And that's something that I am interested in, that I'm very interested in. But it's just, everything with time, right? You can only, I have 6 full-time developers right now building to get the things that are in the Streamline built and wrapped up in the next few weeks. And after those tasks are finished, there's still those full-time developers on the payroll, and there's plenty of stuff that I want to build. And this is an example of one of the things I'd love to build. So, this is a long-term project. This is a project that I'm going to continue to work on and continue to build and continue to add utility to and continue to add value to. And this is why other projects that said that they were going to do a drip fork and launched a token, so many of them have come and gone, but we remain. And it's because I'm going to continue to build and continue to add value. And people recognize that. And people recognize that because they've already seen it. They saw me launch Reap. Reap launched at 4 cents. It went up to $40. Then it dropped to $2. Then I launched the DAO that required holding Reap, and now Reap went back up to $120. And now Reap is at, I don't know, $80 or $70, whatever it is, just because the market corrected. So we've been through these cycles before where I've launched something, it's done a major pump, it's done a major correction, I've added new utility, it's made all-time highs that were 20x the previous all-time highs. We've had another correction, then I've added some other new utility, we've had another pump. Same thing with B-Reap. B-Reap launched at, I think, $4. It went up to, $20, $40, $50, whatever it went up to. Then it had a major correction. It's sitting at a couple dollars. Then I launched Drip. I implement B-Reap as the team token to unlock team referrals. And now B-Reap goes up to over $100. And, this has happened over and over and over again with my projects, and this over and over again, where I've launched something, it's pumped, it's gone through multiple cycles, I've created multiple utilities for it. It's always a major correction in the market that causes our assets to have a major correction, and it's always a new utility and a new use case that sets off the next pump and the next all-time high. And Drip is the next one on the list to do this for. So people who know how to buy value and know how to be long-term investors are who are rewarded from this, because Drip allows you to earn profit in the form of yield without having to sell your principal. So be patient. stick with what you know works. Stay away from whatever the shiny new thing is, or at least do very strong diligence on them. I'm telling you, a lot of these things that have come out recently, it's either the same old, or it's broken. I've seen a lot of that. So um, I'm gonna hop off. I've been on for a couple hours, and I got a ton of work to do, and also the stream keeps getting
Can I
closed, and everybody
can I
getting
ask just one last question?
Okay.
One last question.
Okay.
Is Drip a cult?
Drip a cult. Well, if Drip's a cult, then Drip is the nicest, most harmless cult that I've ever been a part of. So
I like
no,
it. Thank you.
I don't think Drip's a cult. If Drip is a cult, then I'm a cult member, I guess. I mean, if Drip's a cult, then I think cult has kind of lost its meaning. So I see I see Drip as a very enthusiastic investor base. Drip is a product with a very well engineered referral structure that gives people incentive to be excited about it and talk about it and share it, and that's one of the keys to its success. And also, people, there are very few projects that are built by a team that has been in the space for many years. People have made many millions of dollars off of it and continues to deliver over and over and over again. And shines and goes through bumps in the road and makes it through them and shines again and hits new all-time high after new all-time high, and has been through I don't know, 3 or 4 major market cycles, and has lived and continued to prosper and continue to innovate and pull through. And I would say we set the standard, and we are not comparing ourselves to other products because I don't see them as competition. I kind of see us as a league of our own, doing our own thing. But if you ever feel like, oh, why is this taking so long? Why is the price corrected? Do me a favor and have some perspective and look at our competition and look what they're doing. And notice that, oh, they're also down equal or more than us. And they're not paying out as much ROI and as much rewards as we're paying out, even though they're down equal or more than us. And they don't, they have had things that have broken that has caused, whole treasuries to be drained. And they are not launching things and continue to work on it for years and continuing to see new all-time highs and, making it through corrections and continuing to deliver over and over again. No, a lot of these other projects, the developer launches something, it has hype, it pumps on hype, the hype dies, the developer moves on to something new. And that's not what we do here. And because of that, I think the community and the investor base appreciates that. And that's why you see this enthusiasm even when the price is down. So I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the opportunity here. I love drippers. I have people that are constantly DMing me saying, your drip has allowed me to get some medical procedure that I've needed for years that I haven't been able to. Drip helped me get through my student debt. Drip got me through the whole COVID thing, right? You know how many people lost their job or were not able to work because of COVID, and Drip sustained them through the whole period? And
I can attest to that. My wife likes me. My wife likes me so much more since we got Drip.
Yeah, so I mean, consider that as well. Some people that took profit in Drip might have not have wanted to take profit in Drip. They might have wanted to be long-term holders, but everybody has a life. And when the government puts us through this nonsense and doesn't allow people to work for a whole year, they need to find other ways to pay their bills. And Drip allowed thousands of people to do that. And it feels really good to help people through those times. And that's what rewards me. If I only cared about money, I would be trading full time. I most efficiently turned my time into capital through trading. That's what I've done for a decade now. It's what I do very well. I make hundreds of thousands of dollars every week trading, and I could do that, and it would be a lot less work. But I find so much enjoyment out of building, and and just I really think that we're doing positive things out here, and we're one of the few development teams that are in this actually innovating and trying to push the space forward. And I'm glad that you guys appreciate it, and I appreciate all you. So thank you for the opportunity. There's another interview that I had scheduled that I'll be announcing. It's going to be next week sometime. And you're going to see I'm going to be doing at least 1 or 2 AMAs and interviews a week. And once we have this, the date pushed for when Animal Farm goes live, then you're going to see a ton of major interviews and promotion on major platforms and paid promotion and all of that. So look forward to it, guys. I really cannot wait to give more detail. I'm just being kind of guarded with some of the detail because it's not it's not live yet. I want some things to be a surprise, but I'm very excited and very much looking forward to everything. So thank you, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for the opportunity, man.
Thank you for coming, and sorry about the mess ups.
Oh no, it happens. It happens in my group too. I don't know what the deal is. It could be an issue with Telegram. It could be admin that that just likes to flex some power. That they just got some power. They feel powerful. They want to express it. I don't know, but it happens. It's not your fault.
All right. Thank you, sir. I look forward to the next one.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye.